So I'd like to welcome you all to tonight's Krosslink meeting. Joining us this evening is Kling Nourse, who's going to talk about her brand new business, Veg Out Nourse Farm. Just a few housekeeping issues before I turn it over to Kling. If you have a question during the presentation, if you'd like to either raise your hand or type it in the chat, I'll let Kling know. But at the end, there'll also be plenty of time for questions and answers afterwards. And like I say, if you're not okay with recording, you can always take your picture off there if you don't want it to be recorded. But hopefully this will get put on Westborough TV at some point, and then people who weren't able to join us can eventually have a chance to see it. So I'd like to thank Kling for agreeing to talk with us this evening about her exciting new business. So I'll turn it over to Kling.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Donna, and thank you to Krosslink as well as the Westborough Public Library for the invitation and the opportunity to share a little bit about Veg Out. So make sure I answer all your questions during the time that we have together. And again, I did build in time for questions, so I'm happy to chat. And also, know that I'm usually at the food trailer these days, so you can always find me there. But one of the questions that came up before I get started was actually related to some of the team building, some of the menu naming activities that we have, and there was a reference that I personally appreciate, a reference to puns and to humor. And we believe at Veg Out, even with our name, right, the whole phrase Veg Out could be taken lots of different ways, but we really try to embrace a little bit of the whimsy along the way. And one of the things that I always like to start out with in a lot of the discussions that I have, or I'm also a part-time faculty member at QCC, so I like to start some of my lectures as well with a joke. It's always about food, and so I'm going to ask you all for the punchline, and if you don't know it, that's okay. I know it, but now you'll know a new joke too. So the joke is, why is it hard to keep a secret on a farm?
Because it grows?
Close. Very close.
The corn has ears.
The corn has ears. The potatoes have eyes. And the celery stalks.
Cute.
So
Cute.
that is why it is hard to keep a secret on the farm. And so I guess I'll also open by saying, I don't want you to keep a secret about Veg Out. I want you to tell people about it. I want you to ask me questions and enjoy the presentation. So again, thank you. And can everyone hear me okay? And let me know if I'm speaking too quickly or too slowly or not loudly enough. All right. So I wanted to just kind of outline what I wanted to do during the talk. As I was getting ready for the discussion, I really did want to give you an overview of what we do. I think that's important. I know the title of my talk was Recipe or Key Ingredients, Recipe for Success. And so as we really think about that, what those key ingredients have been, and again, today is actually, we're going into our third month of official business at Veg Out. So it's been a busy summer for us, and we're again really excited to share it. And again, it was great for me to have some time to reflect on what I thought the key ingredients might be based on what I thought, and then based on what has actually happened. So I appreciate the opportunity to actually reflect a little bit and then be able to share it with you as well. And then, of course, I wanted to answer any questions you might have and probably solicit ideas for new menu items too, but I didn't put that up there yet. So we'll see how much time we have. Okay, so first I wanted to just give you a little bit about me, right? I mean, it's right now, if you look at the variety of photos, I'm always dealing with food. I love food. I love to eat it. I love to learn about it. I love to connect with it. And different areas in my life, I've had opportunities to work with other people in doing that. So the top left-hand corner is when I served as a Peace Corps volunteer. That was really some of my first exposure to the term food security and really what that meant, and really the broad aspect of it. So availability of food, accessibility of food, and then of course the utilization, right? So is your body healthy enough to absorb the nutrients from the food? And those were some of the students that I worked with on different school gardening projects, on different types of food accessibility. And then when I worked at the health clinic, it was a lot more about the food utilization. So that was really my first introduction. Following across the page, there's a picture of a very sweet little pea pod and Farmer Catherine dressed up at an event. That is my son Noah, who is now taller than I am. So that photo is quite dated. But that was at an event where we were just promoting the different My Plate food groups, and getting to dress up was a fun way to just connect kids with a different element of the food. To the right of that is just a health fair where I was working when I was in school, and we would do different relay races about plates that you could make up. The bottom photos, I probably look a little more familiar. There's a little more gray in my hair. I've got my glasses. I'm actually at the farm, at Nurse Farm in Westborough, in two of them. And one of them was during the time that I was a direct liaison with the Community Supported Agriculture, or CSA program. And that was actually on Food Day in 2014. So it was a day where I worked with our CSA members to collect different recipes, and then we put them together in a cookbook that is available on our website, so you can download that. I believe that it's really important to share information and to make resources free, probably why I like the library so much. But anyway, so that's what that's about. And then the center picture there, I'm just doing work in a classroom talking about food groups. And then the last photo is actually from last summer, where I was solidifying the steps to take to create Veg Out. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, should I admit somebody?
Yeah, I'll let him in. Yeah, okay. Go ahead. I'll pay attention to that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. And so then we were able to really launch Veg Out. And Veg Out, to answer one of the first questions that we got, is a mobile food establishment or food trailer, or even more of the vernacular food truck. And we're not technically a truck because we don't have an engine. We are a trailer. We are pulled. We can even be pulled by one of the Nurse Farm tractors. But all of those different elements of my life kind of led me to this as an experience and as a potential business, as a way to expand different types of food and their availability at Nurse Farm, right? So having a place on site at Nurse Farm that has ready-to-eat foods. So things that you heard Rafat mention earlier, the burgers, the wraps, the smoothies. You heard Chris mention the smoothies. We have soups, we have salads, and we have sides. And so it's a way to really harness all the fruits and vegetables that you can see in that backdrop. The berries, the asparagus, the beets, the peppers, everything into something that is delicious, and then obviously as a dietitian, nutritious. And that's really, from my perspective, what Veg Out is. It's a vehicle, a truly, right, pun intended, vehicle for me to be able to forward my agenda, which as a dietitian is to get people excited about two food groups, fruit and vegetables, that are often underrepresented when we think about our plates, our bowls, our cups, or our mugs. And so that's partly why the fork in our logo points inward, so you're going to actually take a bite with your fork. And it really does truly connect agriculture, so the point of production or the opportunity to grow the food, the nutrition, right, the nutrients that we're getting from the food that we're eating, and then the community, our customers that we're serving. And so one of the things I've learned since moving to Westborough from Washington, D.C., is how interconnected all of this can really be in a smaller community like we have here in Westborough and the surrounding areas. So we like to think of ourselves from farm to fender, because we are mobile food establishments, promoting plant-forward local food. So that is really the gist of what we're about. And, you know, as let's see, the newest endeavor at Nourse Farm. So Nourse Farm is almost 300 years old, and Veg Out at Nourse Farm is almost 3 months old. So we're slowly catching up with the rest of the farm, but it's been really exciting. So, and then as I started thinking, right, and then tonight is really talking about what's helped me put my best foot forward, or I guess my best food forward, what has really been coming up with my business plan, really understanding from there what was going to make Veg Out successful. Now, full disclosure, I wrote this business plan in 2019. So there's been a very large, let's see, challenge that's occurred in 2020 that I did not at all anticipate. So that is something that has really, like everybody, right, had me pivot or pause, pivot, and then just kind of regroup and think and figure out how to best, again, connect agriculture, nutrition, and community. So having this solid business plan really allowed me to do that. And I want to give a shout out to the encouragement that I received from SCORE, from Krosslink, and then from some additional types of resources that I've been able to learn about through my participation in Krosslink that helped me keep working at that plan, keep redefining my niche, keep looking at the trends in the food industry, really understand who my customer really was likely to be, and understand what other competition there was out there. So that was really, really important as I looked at it in the winter of 2019, the summer of 2019. I took a pause in the fall of 2019 because I turned 50. But then when I did it again in the winter of 2020. So it really did allow me to know that I was on trend within the industry. Mobile food establishments are really up and coming, and they have been for quite some time, even here in the suburbs. I knew that plants were really the way to go. I know that from a health standpoint, but I also know that from once the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes had plants on their plates at the awards dinners, pop culture is a great indicator of what's going to be hot. So knowing that and seeing it written about in the New York Times from that angle solidified some doubters that I had in my review board, if you will. Who all share the same last name as me. So, and then really figuring out who I wanted to have as my customers. That's been a great opportunity to think, rethink, plan, and then strategize how we want to get our messages out. Additionally, of course, are the financials. So knowing that we are a seasonal business, right? I'm based currently at a fruit and vegetable farm in New England. There's not a lot that happens there in January, February, and March. So understanding the seasonality component and being able to plan for that from the financial optic when I meet with my accountant, who also shares the same last name as I do. But when I meet with him and we go over this, it is really important to understand that aspect. And then, of course, you've heard me mention a little bit about the marketing and how directly our customer profiles, as well as our competition, relates to that. And within that, obviously, our branding. And you see the logo. I wound up working very closely with the graphic designer here in town who was just amazing. I came to her with this idea and she just went with it and was able to really help me come up with a clean look that's modern, but is still really a nod to the farm where we are currently housed and really complements the work that's done at Nourse Farm. So we've been really pleased with that. It's allowed us to be pithy, it's allowed us to be punny, it's allowed us to also glom on to existing customers through Nourse Farm as well. So we've been able to be really fortunate, but we were extremely intentional with that as well. So again, kind of moving forward with the key ingredients, another big component of my springtime work was really focusing on my vision, my mission, and my core values, and being able to come up with something that was truly authentic. I come from the nonprofit world prior to becoming a dietitian, and so being able to feel confident in what I was talking about and being able to then have that 30-second elevator pitch was really important. And it served me time and time again. It was really hard when I was writing it. Again, I had some assistance in developing it. And the person who helped me with this was just fabulous. She's a psychology and communications rising senior at Boston University and a former colleague of mine at Nurse Farm, and was unfortunately evacuated from her study abroad program in the winter and needed something to kind of focus on that was positive. So she and I connected, and we really came up with, again, something that I really value and really believe truly says what we do, right? We serve a plant-forward, locally sourced menu with a side of nutrition education and a smile. And even though we're wearing our masks most of the time, you can tell that we are smiling because we really are excited that people want to come and eat with us, because we know how important it is for person and for planet health to eat and to choose your food based on facts and fun. So that we have incorporated that. And you can see the different things bolded again. You've heard me mention agriculture, nutrition, community, but we also believe that there's an element of kindness, high quality, and whimsy that should come through too. And so you see that in a lot of the messaging that we have on our social media, but then also on our pages of the website too. Any questions so far, Donna, that have come up?
Not yet.
Okay, great. So again, some other key ingredients, you heard me mention this before in terms of the community. I really knew that I needed to have a quality crew behind me, working with me, supporting our customers and our community. And so again, drawing on my mission, my vision, and my core values, I was really able to hire some of the most amazing people to start this journey with me. And I feel so, so fortunate that I've gotten to work with Chef Mike, who's featured there in the blue Nurse Farm shirt. And then you can see other people fanned out in the background. Amanda, who helped me with the marketing, Sophie, who's been our plant promoter or our cashier, Juliet, who's been our liaison between our culinary creation and our plant promotion, and then Luke, who's our closer, our dishwasher. So we've just had an amazing bunch of folks to really step on this kind of crazy inaugural season with Veg Out. And this was our photo that was taken for the Westborough, Worcester Telegram and Gazette. So we were featured there with all of our fare. And that was before we even had our wrap on the trailer. So it's fun to kind of look back and see how far we've come even in just about 3 months. We obviously have a huge focus on customer service. You know, people are struggling right now. It's kind of a scary time, and so we want people to have a positive experience when they're eating our food. We want them to anyway, but we feel that that's even more important during this point in time in the calendar and in the global situation. So initially, you know, we were a trailer, we were going to be mobile, we were going to be out and about, but actually we found that all of our events were either postponed indefinitely or canceled altogether for this year. So we bought some picnic tables, and then our customers said, hey, you know what? It'd be great if you had some umbrellas. So we bought some umbrellas, and we've actually been able to physically distance the tables so that people feel safe. We do a really thorough cleaning, or as closely as we can. Sometimes people sit down before we can get the table cleaned up, but we really do want people to have a positive experience when they're at Veg Out. And then, of course, right, the entrepreneurial spirit. So everybody here on the team really just kind of had that roll up your sleeves, get your, you know, elbow grease in there, do the work that needs to be done in order to serve our customers. And I think my favorite example is we did a soft launch of our initial menu back in June. And it was just Chef Mike, myself, and Sophie, the plant promoter. And we had selected about 45 people to come and let us just try out the point of sale, try out the menu, and we were able to charge a dime for all of the different orders. And it was crazy. It was like 3 hours of just nonstop customers and food preparation. And at the end of it, I looked over at Chef Mike and I said, so, how's the equipment? And he's like, well, I think you got a problem.
Oh no.
And it turned out that our trailer is designed for propane gas that had been wired for natural gas. So the whole entire evening where we were serving all of our new customers, the stove and the range had not been working properly, but he just made it work, and we served all those people, and we had no idea. And then, of course, the next day I got it repaired. So, but we sometimes on a crazy day, the three of us will sit there and laugh about that. It's like, remember when Mike said that's not working? So it's really been helpful to have such a great team. Additionally, right, is quality raw products. So you've got a picture there of, these are our Polana raspberries that are actually right now in season, and they're just delicious. And then we use that at the base for, this is our berry good smoothie. So it's a combination of raspberries and blueberries with a little bit of banana and some coconut milk. So we do think it's very good. And one day we sold 96 of them, so we think that people agree with that. But again, it really is having that local sourcing of food that does add not just the nutrition, because it's traveling fewer steps to get to you, but the enhanced flavor as well. And I think obviously we eat because things taste good. So when things taste better, so when fruits and vegetables taste better, people eat more of them. So again, it speaks to what we're really looking to do at Veg Out. Oops. Went too fast. Additionally, we have targeted approaches, right? We have specific customer profiles that we developed, and we really craft a lot of what we do to meet those profiles. So whether it's a specific message that goes on Facebook that's just a little bit different on Instagram, because we know that our customers who use Instagram are different from our customers that use Facebook. We know that our younger customers really get bored while they're waiting in line, so we have a book nook that is just books that you can read. We call it catch up on your reading. So you can read a book about a tractor or a specific type of fruit or vegetable, or just somebody having a picnic out in the park. So that's important to us, being able to really think about who our customer is and making sure that it's a comfortable experience for them. And that kind of links into the next one with the safety. We want people to feel safe. We are an outside entity, but again, it's a little bit of a quirky business in that we're a mobile food establishment that just happens to be stationary this year. So understanding how to work well within that. And then we had very specific price points that we wanted to make sure we did not go over and did not really go under. We want people to feel like they're getting their value. So we've looked at different ways to make sure our food is in fact representative of that. And we also think that it's really important to be transparent. So we'll tell you when something is not directly from our farm. We're also going to give you the recipes that we're creating, because again, we want you to be able to take fruits and vegetables at home any way you want, right? Whether it's you want to make our sweet pea and basil soup, or you want to make your own smoothie, that's great. That's partly why we do an In Case You Missed It series. So all of our customers, if they're following us socially, are able to get that. Or if you write to us, we'll give it to you as well. So that's important. We want people to enjoy the food and be able to recreate it. We don't do a lot of fancy stuff, at least we don't think so, but it does taste good, and it's you should be able to take it home and make it taste good there too. And then the other one, this is, kind of the stuff I wasn't sure about. There's always that other factor, right? The factor X or factors X. Why is it working? we think a little bit is our sense of humor, and that was a photo taken by a really wonderful local photographer who came by. She just happened to be coming by the trailer to get something to eat, and she saw us doing a little photo shoot on our iPhones, and I think took a little bit of pity on us, and could lend a little bit of her expertise. And it's just been great to have Nancy's photos from that day. So we feel really lucky. We know that we're so fortunate to have a space that we can plant ourselves, because mobility has been such a limiting factor this year. Word of mouth has been tremendous. We have been so overwhelmed by all the support. I wore my t-shirt when I went to the grocery store the other day because I was leaving work, and 3 different people stopped me and they're like, "Oh, we've heard about Veg Out. Do you work there?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "Oh, we heard it's really great. You know, you reminded us that we need to come out there." And 2 of them stopped by today, so it's actually really good advertising. Elbow grease, it's any entrepreneur will tell you, right? It's long hours. I haven't had a day off since July 4th, so I'm a little bit tired right now. But at the same time, you know, I'm really proud that we've worked so hard to deliver such a quality product and been able to reinvent our seasonal menu, going on our 3rd month now, and we're getting ready for our 4th one as we approach mid-August. I think I talked about the sense of humor and how important it is, because laughter really does make you feel better. And then, of course, Krosslink.
Yeah.
I remember the first time that I presented some of my ideas for a way to bring elements of Nurse Farm into more of the 21st century. And while that original presentation, the idea that I had there hasn't yet been realized, being able to have an environment where you feel valued and comfortable and supported while you're exploring this kind of scary opportunity, or not scary, but a little bit intimidating opportunity, is really, really important. So as I kind of thought about that, those seem to really be the ones that stood out with me. And then, oh, I'm right on time, Donna. It's 6:45.
Wow.
He's good.
So yeah, so I can take any questions or comments or aha moments that you might have. I'm happy to, you know, answer those. Either, I know we are going to stop the recording, but I can answer those if folks have time. If you need to go, my contact information is, I think, on the next slide. But did any questions?
I can leave the recording going if everyone's okay with that.
Okay.
Is everyone okay with me recording the question? Okay. So we'll leave it going.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yes. Yep. Rafat, are you raising your hand?
Yes, that's my hand raising. Yeah, I'll start with my question. Will start from the last sentence you mentioned about the presentation you gave at Krosslink.
Yep.
And how you came to this idea. So can you walk us through the link from that idea to this, and how did you evolve or make that decision to go and to make Veg Out?
Yeah, sure. So, so my original idea was really to be able to have opportunities for edutainment at Nurse Farm, and within that, right, it was a series of field trips or field experiences or tasting or cooking demos, kind of a way to do all of that. Well, for folks who have not yet been to Nurse Farm, there's 2 things you'll notice about it the first time you come. One, there's a lot of land there. It's 140 acres. But on those 140 acres, there's very little like physical structure, in that we don't really have a very large physical structure footprint, minus the barn that was built in the 1860s. So to do those types of edutainment activities, I really lacked a space. And because of the way that the agriculture protection is for the farm, we're a little bit limited in what kinds of permanent structures can actually be there. And so for what I wanted to do, it just seemed that the physical structure kept getting in the way. So I experimented over the years with farm to plate activities with recreation departments, with school groups, scout groups, etc. And those were always really well received. People really enjoyed seeing where their food came from, tasting a little bit of it, because we'd always do a tasting, and then being able to take home information about food production. But I never really got past that. And part of it was linked to the fact that I was always working at either the retail store or the community supported agriculture, and then occasionally at the farmers markets. But for me, right, it was always the education, talking to people, getting them excited about eating fruits and vegetables was always like the fun part for me. And so when I was working in our community supported agriculture program, a lot of the questions that I would get about, well, what can I do with patty pan squash? Or how can I prepare rhubarb? Or why should I really be eating butternut squash? All of those questions morphed into a series that I put together for the farm called Food Fact Sheets. And what the Food Fact Sheet does is it tells you what it is, how to choose a good one, right? Because let's face it, sometimes things are too ripe or not ripe enough, or just not the right, not right for you. And then why you should eat it. So a little bit about the nutrition, how to store it at home so it does last as long as you want it to, and then what's a simple way to prepare it. And so from there, I think the last count was right around 42 of those food fact sheets. And then we developed recipes that go along with them. And again, that's available on our website. It's our cookbooks that we have. But I had all these recipes, and so it's like, well, and I make a lot of them, and they're pretty tasty. And so in January of 2019, John Nourse, who runs Nourse Farm, he came to me and he said, you know, would you ever consider having a food truck? And I was like, food truck? No, I don't know. Like, that would mean I'd have to drive a food truck in January in New England. And that just seemed like a really big challenge. But as I explored the different types of food, mobile food establishments, right, I learned a lot about what was available. And a food trailer definitely seemed like something that would be a little more comfortable for me in terms of you could connect it. You didn't always have to have the engine breaking down, because that's a frequent comment about food trucks. And with Veg Out, I have a full monitor where I can showcase all kinds of educational information, everything from the food facts that we've put onto different presentations that play while you're waiting in line, to the fact that I can hook up my laptop and run a cooking demonstration from inside the trailer. And actually, I'm going to be making this semester coming up for my college program. I'm actually going to be recording some of the recipes for the seniors that live in Worcester as a side project for my academic work, meeting my culinary work, and getting to do it in the trailer. So I'm kind of excited about that. We just found out about that this week. But I actually now have a full commercial kitchen where I can do the work. We did some filming during the height of the COVID situation, but that was all from our own kitchens. So presenting that idea at Krosslink all those years ago about a way to better connect people to the food that's grown at Nourse Farm, to the tasty, delicious dish that can be created, is really, Veg Out is really the culmination of that. So I just wanted to thank you all again for your feedback, because the feedback that I had gotten during the presentation I made was like, you need to figure out something a little bit more. Like, it's a great idea, but you need to kind of take it to the next level. And so having a food trailer, a mobile food establishment, has definitely enabled me to do that.
Great, you took it forward.
Yeah. That's right, from farm to fender. So. Anything else? Yeah.
I'd like to make a few comments before ending with a question for Catherine.
Yeah.
So I want to start with full disclosure that these chips that I've been eating have been organic. And occasionally I've had a sip of this, but it's from grapes. So
There you go.
I've tried to keep the theme.
I love it.
But I just want to thank her for her comments about SCORE being somewhat helpful for her, and Krosslink, because that's really why sometimes SCORE people are very interested in being involved with Krosslink, because it's really an area for entrepreneurs to come together and trade ideas and think that it's a supportive space and that people want to help, because it certainly doesn't help anyone for a commercial venture to not succeed. And to me, it's a wonderful way to give back in my retirement, to try to give back the advice from my few successes and my many failures, so that you don't have to repeat the failures. But I do have a question, and I'm not sure what Parag's main interest in is for attending here. If it is as an entrepreneur, I know, Catherine, that we did give you some advice, and basically the main advice was in brainstorming. You would come with an idea and we would say, well, that's interesting, but have you thought also about this?
Mm-hmm.
The main question, I guess, is at the end, did you have to have a business plan that you presented to a lender to get funding, or was this internally to the management of Nourse Farm to get approval? In either event, a business plan is really very important to have before you pull the trigger. I'm kind of interested in whether it was absolutely necessary to get a loan, or whether you just found it helpful to get approval from whoever had to approve it.
So that's a great question, and I still remember the session that you and the gentleman from Tatnick
Charlie
facilitated.
Napoleon.
Charlie, yes, it's because I saved the handouts that we got from that session and used them as I was writing my plan. But to answer your question, it was first important for me to have a business plan just for myself, right? So being able to really know what I wanted to do and how I was going to get there was really important. But then it was really important as I went. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but so Nourse Farm is a family-owned and operated entity, and there are different players within the Nourse family that have all been incredibly supportive, but were that much more supportive when they saw how serious I was about it, because I had my business plan and I could speak to the questions that they were posing when I was still feeling it out a little bit, collecting my research, adding to my customer profiles and adding to my marketing. And one of the things that was incredibly important was that we at Veg Out were seen as a complement to the production that's happening at Nourse Farm, seen as a complement to what's happening at the farm store from their retail, seen as a complement to what's happening at the community-supported agriculture. So being able to clearly articulate that for my internal audience was really important. Following that, right, and being able to get a loan, having that business plan, again, that was fairly well laid out, was really helpful when I was going to get financing for the opportunity. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. So my lending agent saw our article in the Telegram and Gazette and actually had sent me a little email saying, congratulations, I'm so glad to see that this is happening the way that you had explained it. So it was wonderful to have the plan, again, just for self, but then also for my internal stakeholders and my external stakeholders as well. And I'm looking forward to taking the time at the end of the season this year to review it and figure out, well, year 2 is going to look drastically different because of data that we've been able to collect in year 1.
Well, congratulations, Catherine. And your pea soup is even better than the pie.
I'm so glad that you enjoy it. I like
Yeah.
that one too.
And I love that you have the little library there, with books about food, for the
Yeah.
kids to read when they're there, and that you've put some of the recipes on Facebook and stuff, like you said, for people who want to, said, oh, that was really good, and they can recreate it themselves. So it was a great idea.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so every other Friday is our kids' corner. So we highlight one of our kids' books, and it aligns with different events that are going on. Like last Friday was, August is National Sandwich Month. And so last week's Friday book was Bread and Jam for Francis. So we got to talk about the upside of jam, right? Because we have a peanut butter and jam sandwich on our menu. But we were also able to give a nod to Francis finally trying new foods. And that, kids should be thinking about that as well. So it's a nice way for us. Again, it goes back to kind of our mission and how we want to talk with our customers, at least in the Facebook arena.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Parag has any questions or if he is an entrepreneur himself.
Hey, yeah. So, Chris, to your question first, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a small business. I will send the link in the chat. Basically, it's a coding bootcamp company. It's called Deep Dive Learning Academy. So basically, we started a couple of years back. But yeah, that's for another day. I will perhaps get in touch with the organizer to see if I can present at some point of time. And Chris, I may get in touch with you in terms of the mentorship as well. I spoke with few SCORE mentors in the past, and I had found that quite helpful. So if you are mentoring, I will perhaps get in touch with you or at least get some direction in terms of future mentorship. But yeah, first and foremost, congratulations to Catherine. I know being an entrepreneur myself, I mean, the kind of pain it involves and the kind of success that you got in first 3 months, it's amazing. So congratulations. Couple of questions which I have is, first of all, how do you do the marketing? I see your Facebook page and Instagram, and I also assume that people who are coming to Nourse Farm perhaps get to see your business right there. But in addition to those, do you do any kind of a special marketing? And the second question, when you are actually building this, did you build it for scaling? Are you doing anything specific for scaling it?
Yeah, let me take the first question first, and then I'll speak to that one, if that's okay. So how are we doing marketing? So year one marketing was really kind of two different phases. One is the social aspect, which is relatively inexpensive. The second was actually getting our logo and our wrap on the trailer, because again, we thought we were going to be a little more mobile. But anyway, so that has been really all of our direct marketing that we've done. We do postings on Facebook and Instagram pretty much daily. And that's really been it. We were able to draw on, as Pete said earlier, the existing customer base that we have at Nourse Farm. And so there was outreach that was done from Nourse Farm entity on behalf of Veg Out, their customer, their CSA, their Community Supported Agriculture Program, their members there, because that's a 20-week kind of repeat customer. Other than that, we have not really done anything, and we didn't have anything laid out for year one. So the article in the Worcester paper was unexpected and really, really nice. And that's really all we've laid out for the first year. I felt a little bit, well, I didn't know how things were going to go, really. Initially, I just didn't know, because there would be the additional marketing that would have been with any event for which we'd been associated. But then when all of the events went away, I just didn't know how COVID was really going to affect just customer bases in general. And so we've really just been able to grow. We started our Facebook account in May, it was May 2nd, and we've almost got 400 followers. And then our Instagram account, we started around the same time, and we have almost 450. So we've definitely gotten some bump ups. And we also were working with my marketing person. We've been a little bit deliberate in really trying to hit Westborough and the surrounding towns rather than just kind of anywhere. But I did just get an invitation to participate on a national blog for dietitians. So hopefully that's going to give us a little bit more exposure within the dietitian and nutrition field as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so we haven't done a lot. And that's actually something for the fall that I've really been thinking. We have run some very targeted specials, like the month of July. We had a discount for anyone who rode their bicycle to Veg Out. And so we had reached out to the local bike shops and tried to promote it that way, and some of the cycling clubs in town. We only got one customer from that, so I'm not sure how widely that was actually shared. And then for, we did another one. Oh, we've just done some pop-up ones in June just to see who was kind of following us. So I'm rethinking some of that for the fall. And then your second question was, is this, I didn't quite catch it, is this being designed for scale? Is that the correct question?
Right. So are you making the scaling from like day one? Are you kind of considering that? What are your thoughts on the scaling?
Yeah, so I did it from year one, and then again year two, year three. I did a 3-year model in my business plan, and really it was fine-tuning the menu. Because it is a seasonal menu, there is some variation within it, but I wanted to make sure that I had at least one signature item and at least one seasonal item that would be presented throughout the first season. And then from what's been our shift, right, was we wanted to be able to do at least 4 events this year. Well, now we know that we may do 1. There's 1 still that we're waiting to hear about, but it's going to be significantly modified. So next year will actually be, we're probably going to ramp up and want to do at least 5 events, just to get our name out there a little bit more. And then year 3, I haven't even really thought about looking at again, since I want to know a little bit more about what's going to happen with COVID in terms of what the best direction might be, whether we should in fact be as mobile as I originally envisioned, or is it going to be better to actually be more of a destination and create that opportunity for folks that are coming to Nurse Farm. So that's a question that I have going into this fall, and I met with one of my I met with my husband last night, and we were talking about this and how, you know, what information do we need to kind of make this decision as we move forward? Because again, you know, year 2, I was supposed to be buying the pickup truck that will tow the trailer that will get me to the events that I need to be. And if that's an investment I don't have to make, what are other investments I can make to enhance that destination aspect of it instead? So that's a big question I have leading into it.
That's great. Yeah, congratulations again, and thanks for taking time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much again. We're just so we're so thankful for all the support we received.
By the way, that raspberry smoothie, I'm gonna stop by soon. That was so tempting. My daughter will love it. I have 9-year-old, so.
Yeah. No, we it's very good. So and we're starting to work on September. So I think we're gonna have I've been working on one with carrot and apple, and I think we're gonna call it 24 Carat. So so you too can be golden. So
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead, Rafa.
Since you were thinking to move with the truck or trailer to go to the food, and now it's becoming a destination, are you thinking about delivery, like all these apps to come and pick up food and deliver?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have thought about it in the very short term, and have kind of, we're not really set up right now. What we are looking to potentially do instead of the delivery situation, because, you know, frankly, it's the negative press about that has been a little bit of a barrier for me. But I do believe that we may be looking at the online ordering where someone can come and do takeout or pick up themselves. So it wouldn't be a third-party delivery, it would just be first-party pickup, which we haven't had that capability, but I've started exploring that right now for the fall, because as we know, it's gonna get dark. So, so we'll see. So that's it. So yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's a good question. You always give me good food for thoughts there.
So I know that we've had presentations at Krosslink before from Rocco's. You probably, based on your nutrition bent, don't know anything about great big donuts, but I would have to say that Rocco's has a tremendous, I'm sure, weekly demand where everything is online ordering and pickup. People arrive and they text saying, I'm here, and out they come. I'm sure he would be willing to share with you his platform that he uses.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Because, yeah, I mean, I think the donuts are as big as your face, right?
Yeah.
And that's what my son told me. He's like, Mom, this place is amazing.
They're huge.
So yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'll definitely reach out. And I have not had a donut, so this will be like something I can eat and get some good information. So
The platform is very effective.
great, excellent, thank you.
Good. Any other questions for Catherine?
Well, so you know, I'm definitely one. Oh, sorry, was there a question?
No, go ahead.
So I'm definitely one to take the good suggestions and advice from Score Advisors and Krosslink folk. So one of the questions was a coupon, or suggestions was a coupon for anyone attending the session tonight. So I will, Donna, can I send that to you and then we can figure out? Yeah, we'll do some kind of, and it'll be for the whole month of August, so you guys can come and get a percentage off. I need to put the code, yeah, right? Good suggestion.
I can taste that berry smoothie now.
Yeah, so I'll put the code in and let you all know what it is, and that way when you come, you can let our cashier, our plant promoter know that you're going to take advantage of the coupon or of the reduction in price. But I just want to say thank you for the opportunity tonight. I really appreciate just getting to share a little bit of Veg Out with you, but also thank you for the support that you've given me along the way. I moved here from Washington, D.C., and the only people I knew in town had my same last name, and they're all lovely, but I'm sure that they got tired of all my questions. But being able to have this group and the support over the years has just been so phenomenal. So I can't thank you all enough.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to come and talk with us tonight. Now all our mouths are watering. We're like, we want to go.
So now you've got a food joke. You have some good ideas for things that you can eat, and you'll get a coupon. So I mean, that's pretty good for a Wednesday night, right?
Right. Win, win, win.
Yeah.
Win, win, win.
So should I stop sharing my screen, Donna?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can, and then we can, yeah.
And I think
And then hopefully, sorry. Go ahead, Rafat.
we can give a virtual clap.
That's right. Say yay, a thumbs up. How do you do that in the thing?
Oh, it's
reactions. Yeah, wait.
reaction.
And I hope this is viewed by a lot of people on the Westborough TV platform as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so
you
I'm
know,
sure.
tonight was a
Karen
big night in Westborough with the school committee meeting. So
Oh,
there's a lot of big stuff happening tonight. So.
Yep. Yep. So I'll send the link to Karen, and then hopefully she can figure out how to convert it. I'm lucky.
Exactly.
So the minute I hit end afterwards, it says your meeting is now being recorded, transferred into something. And I sit there and wait, well, it does whatever it's going to do. And then remember to save it so that I can send it to her.
Donna,
So
we
I can
also
send
want
her that.
to say thank you to you for all your contribution to
Yeah.
Krosslink.
Thank
Incredible.
you. Yeah, it's all down to you guys too. It's like, you guys come up with the great ideas for the topics and the speakers and everything. So it was a team effort. And then hopefully Maureen will pick up the library portion of the team effort. And, hopefully at some point you'll be able to meet in person again. It's like,
Yes, definitely. We're looking forward to that.
I know. So hopefully soon the library will be open. And then once they're open, eventually we can have meetings again, once the governor gives the go ahead and bumps it to more than 25 people. So that we can meet in person again, So thank you guys very much. It's been fun.
Thank you so much. Have a
Hopefully the
lovely
library will
evening.
be open before that and you can pop in before the end of August.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you
Thanks for
guys. Thank you,
presenting,
Catherine.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks.
I'll be over for the pea soup soon.
All right.
The raspberry smoothie.
Yeah, I know, right. I'm coming for that berry smoothie.
All right. Sounds good. Take
It
care.
sounds
Thank
delicious.
you.
I know.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.